From bone stock to a track animal, this 2022 Mustang GT is ready to roll. It not only has a ton of Steeda parts underneath, but plenty of other parts as well, because form and most importantly function is key with this build. The customer dropped it off, barely had any miles on it, and had probably an 1/8 inch of dust and dirt on top of it. We cleaned it up and it came out to this. So let's dive a little bit deeper into exactly what we installed on this S550 Mustang. Working from the front to the rear, we have the APR splitter and canards up front, the Anderson Composites hood, which all of these carbon fiber components not only add weight savings, but also the aesthetic we're looking for as well. With that Anderson Composites hood, you get the additional heat extraction that's definitely needed out on track with that Roush supercharger under the hood. Moving towards the back of the car, you absolutely can't miss it, the APR adjustable 71-inch wing. The reason why it's adjustable is because depending on where you're racing the car, you may need additional downforce or less downforce if you have a longer straight and you don't want to shed off too much mile an hour on that straight. And perhaps my favorite part, the 19x11 square setup of the Steeda satin black Trident wheels. These are a track and race proven wheel that not only works on the street, but also out on track, which is why this customer chose this particular wheel setup with the Toyo R888Rs all the way around for maximum grip. It's a 305 square setup to match that 11-inch wide wheel on all four corners. And lastly, behind those wheels, you absolutely can't miss it. This particular car actually came with the base GT 4 pistons up front from the factory. So naturally, if it's going to be a dedicated track car, we need to upgrade it. So we put the 6-piston black Brembo brakes up front, paired with our 2-piece rotors all the way around, with DTC 70 Hawk brake pads up front and DTC 30s in the rear, again for absolute maximum brake potential out on track. I mentioned the heat extraction courtesy of the Anderson Composites hood, and this is why we need it. This car actually came to us with a Roush Performance supercharger already installed. Now, Roush built and engineered these superchargers for street applications only, so it has a carb-proof tune, and it's great for most people that are taking those cars out on the street. But with this being an off-road only car and a track dedicated car, we had the ability to add long tube headers and our Steeda resonator delete H-pipe to get the most power out of this supercharger possible. With our in-house tuning and multiple runs on the dyno, we were able to get 670 rear-wheel horsepower out of this car. Not only the horsepower, but also this thing sounds insane at wide open throttle, which you hear in a little bit. But what's holding up this Coyote motor and the Roush Performance supercharger is our Steeda Road Race cane member, which not only has the additional weight savings over the most important part of the vehicle, the front, but also the ability for adjustment as well. Additionally, you can see under the hood here, poking through the strut towers, is our Steeda adjustable camber plates. And underneath that, you'll find our Steeda Pro Action coilover kit with 400-pound springs for this particular application. The coilovers are going to provide the adjustability needed out on track. Again, you will be making those adjustments based on which track and driving preferences you have behind the wheel. Further down, we have our Steeda 1 3/8 adjustable front bar with 4 different positions based exactly on, again, driving style and moving rearward. We have the Steeda competition rear sway bar with those adjustment points and our rear ride height adjustment system. We came out with this system last year after over a year or two of R&D behind the yellow 20 car, our red HPDE car, and our black Steeda Mach 1, as well as the orange EcoBoost. Everything from street miles to track miles and autocross miles were put into the R&D of that particular system. And in the rear, we went with a slightly higher spring rate due to the additional aero that you have courtesy of that APR wing, 1,100 pounds in the rear for that particular spring. But what makes this ride height adjustment system so cool is if you want to make spring adjustments on the fly while you're at the track, all you got to do is jack up the car and swap the spring out. It's very easy. And speaking of the rear suspension, you can fully expect all of our IRS goodies to be underneath this track car, from our IRS subframe braces to our adjustable toe links, vertical links with the poly bushings. Again, you want that compliance in the rear for a track dedicated car. Our subframe bushing support system, our alignment kit, and adjustable camber arms, again, for all that maximum adjustability you're gonna need as you continue to push this car further and further out on track. And we didn't leave the interior untouched either. You obviously can see these lightweight Corbeau seats, which are great for racing and provide the support needed. A rear seat delete as well as a Watson Racing roll bar. And in terms of driveline, we have that Steeda Tri-X shifter for those short throw shifts, our 3.5-inch drive shaft, our drive shaft safety loop, everything that's needed for high performance track racing in this 2022 Mustang GT. Now, let's take it for a ride and see what we got. Oh, that's loud. Oh man, yeah, that's awesome. Honestly, in the throttle response, one thing I noticed off the bat already is our custom tune, which if you are looking for a custom dyno tune, you can get that done at either of our locations in Valdosta, Georgia or Pompano Beach, Florida. The suspension itself, it's firm, but it's not jarring. You know, everyone thinks that, oh, if you have a track dedicated car, those stiffer spring rates, they really throw you around the place, throw you all around the place. But honestly, as long as the dampers have it under control, it's pretty darn comfortable even on the street. Now the 5-point harness, I don't know how comfortable that is on the street, but nice and planted. Nice and planted. Rolling onto the throttle. Rev match downshift, which is pretty cool. This thing's an animal. Do a little second gear pull. Wow. A little wet here. Amazing how much of a difference freeing up the exhaust makes along with that custom tune. Our 888Rs, you can definitely tell the grip difference versus the factory tires. And again, it's stiff but not jarring. There's not enough road here to have fun, honestly. I mean, at the end of the day, this customer pretty much got everything in the catalog because they're looking for the full S550 Steeda racing experience, and they certainly got it with this. Everything from the brake package to the little stuff like the drive shaft, freeing up some of that rotating mass, which obviously frees up power in return. The IRS components, putting all that power down to the ground on corner exit. You know, obviously we stress those IRS components out on the drag strip because it's all about getting the power to the ground from a dead stop. But out on track, those components are just as important because on corner exit, when you're putting all that load on the rear suspension as you're trying to roll on the power, the sooner you can roll on the power, the faster that lap time's gonna be. But the driving experience, all the noises, the triac shifter doing its thing. I'm very excited for the customer to get this car in his hands because it really is the package. And third gear's a monster. Thankfully we have those hog brake pads to slow it down. When you have that perfect combination of form and function, you really do have a head turner. So if you're looking for any of these components on your particular S550 Mustang or other Ford vehicle, we offer the full catalog at Steeda.com. So be sure to check out the description, check out our website. We really would love to hear from you in the comments as well. What do you want to see? 2024 Mustang, we've already driven it. It's right around the corner. We'll be getting our shop car here soon to be able to test fit all these parts, develop new products, do what we do best with these cars, go improve those products out on the racetrack, and ultimately get them to you guys so you can feel them for yourself on your new Mustangs. So comment below, let us know what you want to see. We are all ears. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, the notification bell, and don't forget the most important thing, speed matters.